All right. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, my dearest Miruna. Welcome everyone to our episode number 4 already.
Already. Oh,
Yeah,
so
it
exciting.
passed so fast.
I know. I
I
know.
really enjoyed our time together. I was watching us with our audio and our calls, and it was fun. It was very fun. So let's dive into it. Today, we have chosen to dive into a new subject. Everything is related, obviously, but following forgiveness, we wanted to talk about more the hurting feelings, right? When people hurt us, how does that translate into our body, into our aura, into our spirit, right? So how do we actually feel it and sense it within? So Miruna here is going to introduce a bit about her point of view, her experiences, and what are actually the pain points that can be experienced, right? So that's pretty much what we're going to talk about. So the floor is yours, my dear.
Thank you so much. Um, yeah, we thought to go a little bit deeper, right, into the layers of forgiveness and today the hurt. And I was thinking uh, on a question that really helped me to navigate the healing process was what hurts? What inside of me actually hurts? Because at the beginning you look, I mean, anyway, I tend to look to the situation, right? The person, then there's me. I do not agree, do not like this. I'm feeling hurt. Okay, so then as we look within, I like to get specific to what exactly hurts inside of me, just to touch upon the pain point or the wound and the wounding. And this tends to be obviously touch on an emotion. So literal sadness, anger, like there's always an emotion there that is linked with a thought that this is, and then the angle that I choose is, okay, what exactly is the phrase? I think it's important to look at the phrase so that I understand what exact wound has been touched. So if the phrase is that this is not just, this is not fair, most probably I touched upon the wound of injustice, which I had inside. Um, I've been lied to. You betrayed me, betrayal. And that's when we were talking about the five core woundings that that we both know about. I think it was from Lise Bobo that you read them, or
I don't remember what was the source of what I read, but it's pretty accessible online from different type of source. I think they do agree on those 5 ones, and I don't know who originally named those, but probably.
right. If yeah, you're right. If we type the five wounds of the soul, we get the rejection, humiliation, injustice, betrayal, and abandonment.
Yeah.
And actually, I googled this yesterday, and then there I found the sixth wounds, and then the seventh. I'm like, oh my god, there's some more. Just
Really?
variations. It's variations,
Okay.
but we're not here to talk theory. The idea is that we always find, and actually I wanted to ask you what you find when you look, let's say, closer into the mix of emotion with a thought, which is usually like a belief. If the belief is that you've betrayed me, of course I believe that you shouldn't act like this. I should never be betrayed. And it's linked to I was thinking this morning as I was preparing for our episode, it's linked to a promise that is broken. And I wanted us to look into it, just like to check, is it true? A promise that someone broke or that we broke?
I love this. Wow. That's very interesting, this perspective on the promise way. It makes sense. It's like a promise. It's a form of like we expect, expectations actually. deep down, we expected this person to show up, provide the love we were seeking. We expected us to show up. So
Yeah.
it is a form of promise that has not been verbally said or, like understood in the same ways from all parties, but it is a promise that we have created in our mind or heart, and that's why we feel broken, because it got broken. Um, Before that, it's interesting because this is my whole premise of how I do um, help individuals, because the way you perceive the world, the way you create your belief, or you have been believing beliefs that's for all your life you built on and you were not aware of, is the way you're going to perceive someone hurting you or not. And it's the way that's going to keep touching your wound, inner wounds, often. And then when you take this awareness in every part of yourself and actually change this belief, this is when you become freer. So I am a total, are you preaching to the choir? I'm totally agreeing with all the process. And before even diving into the wounds, I would even ask you, what are the signs of someone when they're being hurt? Right? So many people attach thoughts right away, but what are the signs they're saying, hey, I'm hurt? And do people actually take the time to say, I'm hurt? Or they do right away go to their reaction mode and actually let time passes by and then go back to their everyday
Yeah.
lifestyle, right? So when is the moment where they should ask themselves, hey, am I being hurt? What are the triggers? What are the signs that should indicate them that they're being hurt, right? So
Yeah.
what do you feel about this? What would you say about this?
I think even if we rush through life, uh, or not, a bit sooner or later, we're going to observe our behavior changing. So if it's a dynamic with somebody, let's say in a work environment, you will change your behavior regarding a colleague. So let's say you had a interaction with the person, and then you felt a discomfort or you didn't like something. We can go into, oh, I didn't like that. But actually, let's say she pushed on a shame button, which can happen so much, like, oh my God, you gained so much weight. Seriously, like, just let's
A,
say.
a, a tiny tear, yeah, of hurt.
Yeah, and I heard that last week from a lady who said that somebody told that to her and she was laughing. She's like, oh, she probably didn't understand, but I'm pretty sure they pushed her shame button, and plus she just gave birth, so it's like she gained weight because she gained birth. But the fact that you would bring it up, and you would, if you change the behavior with the person, you probably didn't take the time to understand, okay, what button did she push? Let's say she triggered a shame emotion, let's say, or an anger. Let's say I'm really appalled that you would actually comment on my weight, um, but that would be linked with something inside of me that is that is causing me that is causing my self-esteem to be lower. So I would definitely check for behavior change, be it avoidant, because it's not always bursting into anger or being a bit less nice to the person. Sometimes it's really being avoidant completely and like ignoring the person. So it can be within, it doesn't always have to be without, right? um and I find the tendency is, so either if we explode, well, it's expressing it, that emotion, which is totally uncomfortable, or repressing it, and that's when we get to be avoidant. Either way, the minute that we choose to be aware that, oh, I shifted my behavior, I'm kind of projecting on that person, I'm suddenly disliking them more and more. What's going on inside of me? Oh, right, she said that, I heard that. I got angry, or I got shamed, or I got sad. And now instead of just processing the emotion and be like, that's just a total it's innocent comment. Let's say it's an innocent comment. She doesn't tell you every single day mean stuff. So, I'm not talking about that kind of people. Um, I'm choosing to let it go. And at the same time, actually, I can really take advantage of, okay, so what do I feel about my body? How do I perceive myself? As you said, right? I lived my life as I perceive it. Do I feel shame? Do I believe that I should have lost the weight 3 weeks after giving birth? Is that something I hold within myself so that I'm in agreement with? And then really we can free ourselves. Okay, well, you know what? I'm letting go of this. I'm gonna give myself more love here. And just total accept. I'm gonna talk to my body lovingly, put some cream on. I have this technique. I actually shed weight a couple of years ago with just lovingly talk to my body and just massage it with cream. Take the time to accept it just as it is. That was my decision before. So I didn't go on a quest to lose weight. And once I did, I love myself so much. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start from the beginning, from the end. I love you right now. And actually, the body shed weight because it was a lot of weight that was carrying repressed emotions, just repressed emotions. Simply so. So that's one way
Oh, sorry.
to go about the link. It's to be honest, and I think every single time somebody pushes on a sensitive button, we have the opportunity, maybe not right away, but we have the opportunity whenever we sit down and take the time to free ourselves. Because if it is a sensitive button, I'd say all the time, and I'm curious to hear you on that, all the time there is an internalized belief that has a negative charge. If not, I wouldn't have the button, right?
Yeah, indeed. I'm taking notes from what we're talking. It's very interesting. So I'm a person who like to organize thoughts, be
I
structural
know.
about this. I love this. As I was hearing you, it's indeed there is a reason why you are being feeling those emotions or this in your body or like a certain discomfort. I love this, and for me personally, because I rose in awareness, and that's the best thing you can do, guys, for anything you want to improve on in your life, or you want to shed light into more things that you're not that you would like to improve, or you don't understand why does that keep up happening for me? Why do I keep getting hurt for that reason? The best first step in anything is self-awareness. So to bring awareness to when you feel hurt, really will shed light, bring you clarity, understanding more where you're coming from. Because if we're not aware of those things, you're still gonna keep doing techniques or tactics that are not actually diving deeper on what needs to be dived deeper in, right? Um, I feel like there's different levels of hurt in the sense that me personally, when I experience hurt, I feel it really in my heart and my core. So that's where it gets heated up. I get like my heart starts beating faster. I'm on my um defensive mode, like in my brain, like, oh, this is happening, no, 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 no. And I feel an urge to reply back because me, instead of retreating, I attack. This is how I've been
Right,
brought up. So this is my
right.
way of
To
defense
defend yourself.
mechanism.
Yeah,
And that's something we could maybe touch base in another call where what are your defense mechanisms? I think that one of the signs that shows you that you are hurt is when you unconsciously or consciously use a defense mechanism. You are in a
yeah,
defensive mode,
for sure.
whether it's closing in or expressing it, you are in a defensive mode. Another sign I really express it is really in my heart, like I feel it starting to beat down, like you're being your nervous system is being activated. So I start, some people can start sweating, some people can start like breathing like faster when they're being hurt. me is when my heart's starting like to react to it. So that's another sign I've got. And the discomfort one. I think that when people start, if we got to have a circle of just sharing, I think people would relate to each other in the sense that there is a certain sense of discomfort. Like, you know, when you're like, and it's not physically discomfort, like you're sitting on a chair and you're like, that's easy for people to notice because we live so much in this physical world, in the seen world that people have been trained to like, oh, I see, I touch, I hear, this is my five senses. We're talking about the five senses of within, right? The five wounds. It's funny, right? Five senses of touch, five senses of wounds, all connected. So when somebody sits down and they don't feel comfortable physically, they're gonna feel it. Ah, starting to pain my butt, starting to pain my neck, my lower back, and it's right away for them. They're aware of the pain. Now, right now, is about bringing awareness of the pain within to actually develop those senses of like, hey, I am feeling hurt right now, and da 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 da, and the discomfort we're talking about. I think you can all relate a little bit. It's something that I cannot pinpoint in all details, but you're starting to feel uncomfortable in the situation, in what has been said, what has not been said. You know, there's like a charge of energy where it's like there's an awkwardness. You know, when somebody says, oh, it's awkward right now.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
how do you describe awkwardness? It just people feel it, they sense it. You know what I mean? So there's this level of discomfort, and thus I feel there's different levels of hurt. And like you said, there's a reason why you're feeling hurt because there's something within that has to be brought up and healed from. And I know it is scaring a lot of individual, including us. At some point, it did scare us, but I'm here to just remind you it's so much worth it. Like the level of freedom, of inner love, of freeing space in your mind and your heart, and also feeling more empowered. It's so much worth. There's nothing that compared to staying in your status quo and feeling hurt and ignoring it, and feeling hurt and ignoring it, and feeling hurt and ignoring it,
Or
and
expressing
the
it
past,
in
or
anger.
expressing ignoring it, meaning that not addressing it in right, because the pattern's going to repeat. Why? Listen, we're not, you know, we're not the creators of this world, but we're here to learn. I think we agree on this. We're really truly meant to be on this earth to learn and to grow and to actually release a lot of things that doesn't serve us anymore. Like this is an experience. So if we don't address it, it will come back stronger because it needs to be addressed. This is the laws of nature here. And the more we resist something, the more it comes back to you. This is what you attract. So for me, the way I see it, I don't know if you can see my little like I did a little scale of different levels of hurt. So basically what I see is that at the beginning you feel a certain tiny discomfort towards something. And then as you become more intense, that's the scale of intensity, you become medium discomfort to a point that you cannot ignore it, right? Inward. And then it becomes, for me, the highest level of intensity is a trigger. So a trigger for me is a point where it's like it's over your face. Like you are totally activated never in your nervous system, body wise, in your brain wise. Like it's like if it's a rod past you, you got the highest, most insulted, most hurt. You're like you all your senses are on, and like you are being hit, like slapped on the face almost. This is a trigger, and I think when you have this trigger, that's when you use them, like you said, as an opportunity to, okay, this has to be addressed. If it became a trigger, that means you are on the, you know, like the threshold, like your body cannot support it anymore, your mind, your brain, your spirit cannot support it. Has to be addressed. This is where, if you don't respect your triggers, this is where it becomes, I think, chronic stress comes in. I think that's me, and there's no disclaimer. We're not professionals doctor wise in terms of men, but I think that's where it turns into inner pain, like physically. That's where it gets transformed into chronic diseases, chronic pain, because now you have surpass your limit of what you can actually accept as a discomfort, and then not addressing it, it's just going to overflow from there. So trigger is like, for me, this is my experience, is the higher point of intensity in terms of hurt, because like you are reacting so much, like this hurts you, this makes you insulted or betrayed or whatever, to out most of it. And then if you feel just a tiny discomfort, oh, I find you lost weight, or oh, you're always late, Macy, anyway, and this is a tiny slash of discomfort. If it's still tiny and you can pass it over, it's because you're not ready to maybe, address it. If you are really active on it and you want to address any discomfort you have in your life, of course you can, right? But if you're not, where should I address what, Macy? Then start with your triggers. Start with where is the most intense and the most hurtful. If it's the tiny slashes of discomfort, there's a sign, it's an indication, but that means also that you're not ready to address it also. That's been my experience, and that's what I've been observing with my clients and with the people around me, is that they're just not motivated yet to actually dive deeper and say, what's the wound behind this tiny discomfort that this person told me about this comment? Like they're not motivated yet. They're not determined to go dive deeper on it. So I think there's a reason why there's different levels of hurt. So yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
I'm passionate about it.
That experience, very interesting that you would go for the higher trigger.
Yeah, that was the best indication for me in my past.
Yeah, yeah. It's there are levels of being hurt, and when we have, I think that's why also we all can relate to hurt, starting with the parents, because they have the highest levels of engagement with that, like promises with us, like that's an actual dynamic in which, by the sole fact that you were brought into the world, they are the ones responsible for your well-being, physically, emotionally, and I'd say spiritually for some of them, if they find out that they can actually also take care of you spiritually or teach you, and then the more that they disengage or get alienated, ignore, dismiss your emotions, dismiss who you are, try to control you into what they think is best, but all the while not really seeing your spirit. All those things, all those hurts, I think they're in the top 10 deepest hurts that we can have, because they're directly linked to creating sadness, anger, like very deep hurtful feeling, shame inside of us as we were children. And I would say as children, we would not know generally how to process that, so we just internalize it linked to beliefs about ourselves. So I think that's why all the time we're brought back into childhood, or in the present time with our partners, or other situations, bosses, people in authority. Usually we get to be very highly triggered. For me, the highest triggers are position of authority, partners, family members. And that's when, so if somebody is going to find and push the button the most, it's in that category, because this is where also my pain body, right, my unconscious hurts still lie. And it's wonderful, but thank God, with so much practice and taking the time to heal into every situation, with practicing awareness, it's become much easier and less to process. It's like, I think we can all relate that we had that thought that, when is this going to be over? Like, how many layers are still there of hurt? My God, just like, you heal something, I'm finally free and this is done. And then, oh my God, there's something else underneath, and something else, that really, like, the layered and layers of different kind of hurt. I love how Eckhart Tolle explains it as in the pain body, because I literally see it as the pain body of the ego, just and shedding it. So just because there's still some hurt left doesn't mean you haven't healed, doesn't mean you haven't evolved. It just means that
You
there's
healed a layer. You healed an important layer of it.
so it's 100%, like, yeah, definitely. And also as we heal and we get triggered, it grows. You know, you take out some of it, but then
Yeah, and then you go,
you
yeah,
get into the
it's
hurt,
crazy.
and
Yeah,
then you create more hurt. It's like, but I just forgave that exact thing. Yes, you did, but then you victimized yourself again, and you created a bit more pain, and that's why you feel like it's never ending. But seriously, seriously, personally, and sincerely, the greatest tool that has helped me was I accept this present moment with the actual pain that I feel right now and feel it to heal it. Once I got feel it to heal it, once I truly understood that just feeling raw emotions without the story is the quickest way and the most accepting way, like to just be present with the pain body and just allow it, whatever is there. It doesn't mean that if there a part of me is unconscious or hurt, I need to get fully submerged in my unconsciousness and, you know, create a. But once I got through that threshold, things got really much easier. Even if things are sometimes difficult, and actually it is a part of the experience of life.
Yeah.
There are more comfortable and uncomfortable experiences. It's just that we're experiencing polarities.
It is part of it. And I love it. I think it's about the resisting part. Like when you don't resist anymore, this is acceptance of what is. And I love this. We definitely have to touch base of how, you know, how do you feel the resistance a bit with the level of hurt. I think it's quite connected. You know, when you feel hurt, it's because you resist something that's within that has to be actually healed from.
Yeah.
So the time is passing.
My God, yeah.
I know we like you guys to come back and just get more. That's why we're giving you drip by drip. But we're gonna have to wrap this up. I loved how you mentioned the broken promises, and if we, you know, bring it up in a spiritual way, we have broken promises over time, right? Over lifetimes, and there's like this recurring wheel that like we're being faced with, right? Anyhow. Not
I'd love for us to touch upon that more.
I know so many things, but to what you said, I totally agree. Your circle of the most and close to you, they're the most engaged. That's where you're the most sensitive towards, right? And the wounds, I think we would talk about the wounds next time, next call. Maybe we could talk about the wounds. There's this exercise that maybe I would love for us to maybe bring for in a workshop, rather online or in person, where this lady really showed me an exercise to actually bring from consciousness, from what is the situation, to the inner wound. And they actually dissecate different levels of things, from the situation, with your mental, what you're feeling, your emotions. But that really was my best tool. When I accept the pain in order to heal it, I go through this process. So me, it's really the writing, the journaling that really helped me heal through things. And because you're just dissecting it. And sometimes people, it's all like a wumble of things and they don't understand that it's not clear. So it's confusing. By dissecting it, and by just layering it, you're able to actually bring awareness of like, oh, I feel this emotions towards, oh, I feel betrayed. Oh, and then you have keywords that actually gonna help you associate it to the correct wound of that situation. Because at the end of the day, what brings us to hurt is a specific situation. Like it's accumulation of many things around the time, but each thing was a situation you're living in. Was you were in a physical world, you are and experiencing your body, and you are rather talking with yourself, rather talking with a person. So that's the situation, is what triggers the hurt, right? So trickling down from that is going to really be helpful. So maybe I can mention it in the next call. But
that'd be awesome to go through the
that's
levels.
pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So that was very interesting. Whew. So we could talk so much more, but we have to respect our time. And so that was very interesting. Thank you so much, Miruna.
Thank you, dear Macy. Always a joy to connect with you.
Me too.
Really.
Special. Really.
Yeah. I really, really loved. I love what we shared, and I cannot wait, as always, for the next one.
All right. So this is a wrap up, guys. So see us for the next episode regarding the hurt, the wounds behind. Bringing awareness to that. So
Amen to that.
bye.
See you next time.
Bye.